This is Kim, your friendly neighborhood ER nurse. I'm the host of People Are Wild, the only podcast that claims to bring medical entertainment, medutainment, on a weekly basis. I can be found on your favorite podcast listening app, iTunes and Google Play, and you can talk to me on Twitter at People Are Wild.
And I'm Kerri.
And we are Paranormal Chicks.
Episode 25.
We're not an age this time?
Oh, no, we are. We can rent cars for cheap. Your insurance goes down.
Oh, yeah. That was a major plus.
Welcome to adulthood, baby podcast. We're not a baby podcast anymore. Mm-mm. Holy crap. We're a quarter of a century old in podcast years.
They're like,
is that like dog years?
Wait, I'm a dog?
No. You look like one. No.
I mean,
I correct myself.
At least you like bulldogs.
Oh, God. I don't know why. I laughed really hard at myself on that one.
You think you're funny?
I'm the only one.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, what y'all just heard was a little promo by Kim, and she's over at People Are Wild podcast.
Yes, check her out. You know I love medical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's my jam. Check it out. I love the cover art, too, of her podcast. It's the X-ray of a pelvis.
Yeah.
Love it.
You know she likes the pelvis.
I mean, little thrust action. Stuffing some crust.
Oh, God.
What can I say?
I mean, thrust does rhyme with it.
I mean, I couldn't think of anything witty. I almost repeated exactly what you said, which is my life.
Yes. Also, so you love medical stuff, but I love
pop culture.
Pop culture. Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome.
And she merges both of them, and so it's like I can get with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Also, we bonded over Big Brother.
Yes.
I mean, if you like Big Brother, you're cool in my book.
Although I have not been watching this season. I did set it to record on my new cable.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. Because I've just been so damn busy. I haven't had time.
It's actually a terrible season.
I figured. Usually it takes me a couple of episodes to get into it because there's just so many people and I'm too ADHD for that.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. It's me. But, I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you like pop culture, you'll like medical shit, go check her out.
Speaking of another K name, but not me.
Oh, and not other?
Mm-hmm. We have a new Patreoner by the name of Kimberly K. That's how Donna says her name every time.
It's from my best friend's wedding when they're at the karaoke thing and Julia Roberts knows that Cameron Diaz's character doesn't want to sing it, and she's like, okay, I got this. And then she's like, Kimberly Wallace. And so I have to say it like that.
Oh, well, that. Anyway.
I mean, if y'all don't like that movie, y'all need to go.
I never liked it.
See, you're going to be uncool like her.
Okay, anyway. Kim, she upped, so I think we said her last week. Anyway, doesn't matter. But she upped her Patreon to now she gets bonus episodes, and she'll be announcing a new Sinister Sightings episode coming up.
And she gets bloopers, y'all, and I'm telling you.
Didn't I say that?
No, you said she gets bonus episodes.
Oh, well, that's what I meant to say.
Well, she does get bonus episodes, too. But you get that as a $5 account, too.
So anyway, thank you, Kim, for being part of the Patreon.
Yes. Well, what I was saying is July's bloopers were funny. That was our first time to do bloopers.
AKA Will.
Yeah, thank you. He makes our fuck-ups sound pretty funny. But then in August, there is an incident that changed me. And it is caught on tape.
On camera?
Yeah.
Oh, on tape. Okay, we're going real old school. Cool.
I mean, we're 25, so we're old. We remember tape. But anyway, so if you ever, I think you can do like a one-time thing It is worth it because you will hear a whole new side of me in different octaves. Anyway, moving on, and let's get into it.
Okay.
Get creepy with it. Sorry.
Oh, God. That was like a poor man's Will Smith. Getting jiggy with it, you know?
Yeah, that's what I tried.
Oh, well.
I just didn't do it really well.
Well, your point came across.
But you didn't know I was trying to do that.
Okay. Me first?
Yeah.
Tonight, this episode, I am doing a serial killer by the name of Charles Edmund Cullen. Ever heard of him?
I don't think so.
Me neither.
Oh.
But
I know Edward Cullen was Twilight, I think.
Oh.
Wasn't it?
That sounds right. The Cullens is correct.
And his name was Edward, right? Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so old Charles
In charge. Okay.
Okay, so I was like, look, this is what I want to do. I want to do an angel of death.
Oh, fuck.
Enter
So you said Tiffany.
Tiffany. Give me a name. So anyway, so he's an angel of death, obviously. So obviously he's a murderer, and obviously people are going to die.
Obviously.
Okay. So Charles was born in 1960 in West Orange, New Jersey. He was the last of 8 kids.
Damn.
He had 5 sisters and 2 brothers. When he was 7 months old, his father died at the age of 56.
Oh, gosh.
So not vampires.
No.
They did. Vampires
Damn.
don't die. Of course, again, as everything, his childhood was described as quite miserable. When he was 9, he attempted suicide for the first time.
Oh, gosh.
By drinking chemicals from a chemistry set he had.
Oh, my God. Bless it.
Yeah. In 5th grade, he wrote a book with his only friend titled Infinity Years Will Never Know.
Gosh.
And it was about growing up in a world in which your life is meaningless. He's in 5th grade. He was 11 years old.
Grade.
It's said that he was teased pretty relentlessly at
what?
school. I don't know. It just said that he was teased.
Did he sound weird since he did all the chemical?
I don't fucking know.
Damn.
That's what I sound like. When he was in high school, he, of course, was bullied just like when he was in grammar school. And he went to a party and decided to get back at the people. He laced the drinks with rat poison.
Holy fuck.
Nobody died, but he had did that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So he had a very tumultuous, I'd never say that word right.
Girl, you know I can't say it.
Anyway, one of those lives.
Who is his fucking idol? Jim Jones?
His idol, actually, was the book Crime and Punishment.
Oh.
And it's about a man who was a murderer.
Okay.
By someone I should know how to say their last name, but I don't. Dostoevsky.
Oh, yeah.
That's really bad. We're probably going to get emails. It's okay. So he drops out of high school after he tried to kill everybody and joins the Navy. He actually did pretty well at the beginning of his naval career. He was promoted to petty officer 3rd class, and he was on the USS Woodrow Wilson. He operated the ship's Poseidon missiles, which was like some fancy ballistic missile. But as with previous experiences, he was labeled a misfit and constantly ridiculed, hazed, taunted. They gave him the nickname Fish Belly.
God.
What the hell does that even mean? There's got to be a story behind that we don't know. What the fuck is a fish belly?
I don't know. He flops?
So we Googled fish belly, and it's inappropriate. It's a racial slur about white people.
Yeah, who knew?
Or the underside of an erect penis.
Or tell him the other thing.
Oh, yeah. When a girl's fat belly hangs out of underneath her shirt. AKA me every day. No.
But we call that Baby Huey.
Yeah, when you remember the cartoon that was the big old duck
Duck.
that was like a baby, but he was huge, and I'm pretty sure he smoked a cigar. But his shirt, like, only covered his duck boobs. But his belly was out, and then he had the diaper on. So we call that baby Huey in it, when your shirt's too short. For men and women.
Yes.
Boys and girls.
Oh my
But this is just for a girl whose spare tire is hanging out from under their shirt. Get a bigger shirt.
Oh my gosh. Oh, also about Grandma's fish belly.
Oh, because this is all Urban Dictionary, y'all. This is not solid source, but it said that fish belly is also like the waistband underneath your bathing suit or underwear that never gets to see the light of day. That's your fish belly. And like the sentence that Urban Dictionary had was like, when Grandma was in the hospital, I accidentally saw her white fish belly. What the fuck? Urban Dictionary, you lit, man.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so apparently, though, it really is a racial slur.
Yeah, we're not going to say it again.
So, aside from the really freaking stupid and funny definitions on Urban Dictionary, it's inappropriate. So, don't call your friends that.
Yeah, and not going to be the title of this episode.
No. So, about a year after he got the nickname, they found him sitting on the ship, on the USS Woodrow Wilson, sitting on a ship in a stolen hospital gown, mask, and gloves, at the missile control panel.
Oh, they saw his fish belly.
Oh my god! A hospital gown! Mind blown. Full fucking circle. This podcast is over. That right there, we're done. End of story. Okay, anyway, so obviously they reported the incident and they were like, okay, we're going to move you to another ship because he clearly has some mental health issues going on and doesn't need to be sitting at missile control.
Yeah.
Legit, he's fucking sitting at missile control in what appears to be some form of like a psychotic break.
Yeah.
So, in the next few years, he had about 3 more years in the Navy, and throughout that time, he attempted suicide 7 times.
Oh, Lord.
And so he received a medical discharge from the Navy in 1984.
Bless it.
So, not long after his discharge from the Army, he enrolled in Mountainside Hospital School of Nursing in Montclair, New Jersey. He was kind of found his footing in nursing school. He was
obviously, I mean, he was in his medical shit. He could wear
his gown and gloves and masks.
He could wear all of that.
Mm-hmm. He was elected president of his nursing class.
Damn.
And he graduated in 1987. 2 months before he graduated nursing school, though, his brother James died of an overdose.
Oh, gosh.
But also in 87, he marries a computer programmer named Adrienne Taub. And then he starts working that same month at St. Barnabas Medical Center in Livingston. So the very next year, he had his first daughter. After his first daughter was born is when he killed his very first victim. He killed 17-year-old John Yingo, and he used lidocaine. Like, he injected him with lidocaine.
Oh. So was it a random killing, or was this person, like, almost dead? You know, like...
Well, and that's kind of, like, at the beginning, a lot of the people that he killed were...
terminally...
Yeah, were, like, either close to death or very, very sick. And so he said that he killed them to avoid them being, quote, coded, which just means that when they call, like, usually it's a code blue in almost every single hospital when someone's in cardiac or respiratory arrest, and you have to bring in the cart and bring it back to life, right? And so he said that he wanted to avoid people being coded. And so that he would kill the patients by either giving them an overdose of insulin, lidocaine, and then digoxin. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I think that's a heart medicine, kind of like epinephrine. And so he would kill some people who, like, had AIDS and stuff. And if you think about it, it's in the late 80s.
Yeah.
For the most part of his kills. And, well, not the most part, but whatever. And so there wasn't a whole lot understood about AIDS at the time and treatment and all of that. But
yeah. Did they feel any pain with that, or did they just kind of die in their sleep?
I don't know. So at the end of 90 to the beginning of 1991, he starts to abuse his family.
God.
During the winter months, he would turn the heat off. And remember, they live in Jersey.
Yeah.
So it's freaking cold.
Yeah.
Then he would put the family's 2 Yorkshire Terriers in trash cans.
Oh.
And just, leave them there to
Now,
torture them.
I can get behind it being cold because that's my heaven. I know it's torture for everyone else, but okay. But when you go put a fucking dog in a trash can,
I know.
I have nothing good to say about you. And that's all I have to say about that.
I know, girl. It's like killing. It's like anytime an animal is hurt, even a stupid animal I don't like, I'm like, ooh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a raccoon. And I'd be like, don't hurt the raccoon.
Yeah, don't hurt the raccoon. Besides when it's here at 4 a.m. and it's trying to get my cat food.
Mm-hmm. That's why you shouldn't have a cat. Okay, so while he was working at St. Barnabas, that's where he said that he had committed a murder of someone who was dying of AIDS with insulin. And then, so the hospital started investigating him because someone had contaminated some IV bags. And so they're investigating him, and he gets fired. So a month after he leaves that hospital, he starts working at Warren Hospital in Phillipsburg.
Okay.
In Jersey. Around that time, his second daughter is born. And then the next year, his wife files a domestic violence complaint against him, and the judge issues a restraining order.
Good for her.
I know. And then she files for divorce, just a few days after she got the
restraining order.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then, so after she gives him the divorce papers, she files another domestic violence complaint and requests temporary restraining order because she feels like his access to medicine could put her and her daughters at risk.
Oh, God.
So obviously, she was sensing something had been happening. I don't really know because this is the only reference that I found. Anything about, this is the only reference that I even found that he had kids. So
wow.
I don't know very much other than that.
Yeah.
So he was going to quit nursing at the time, but because he had to pay child support, he had to continue working. So while he was working at Warren Hospital, he attempts suicide and is sent to a psychiatric facility in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
How did he attempt suicide? He has done this 25,000 times now.
I don't know how, but nothing ever says how he did.
Or did he just say, I attempted suicide? Because he kills people real easily, but he doesn't kill himself.
I don't know. So after he's released from the behavioral health unit, he goes back to work and kills another patient who's 90.
Oh, gosh.
With the heart stimulant, the digoxin. Or digoxin. I don't know. Anyway, kills her. Then he breaks into the house of a coworker by the name of Michelle Tomlinson. So he breaks into her house when she and her son are there asleep. He doesn't wake them up, but then he starts stalking her.
Oh,
so
gosh.
She, of course, files a police report against him. And then at that time, his wife gets another restraining order against him. And so he loses all visitation rights with his kids. So then he attempts suicide again because he was arrested. He pled guilty to trespassing. He got 1 year of probation for the stalking of Michelle. He was sent to another psychiatric hospital. He gets out, and 3 months later, he's still working at Warren Hospital, and he kills another patient, 85-year-old Mary Natoli. Oh, I didn't say the other lady's name. Lucy Magarvo.
Sounds fancy.
Magavero. I really suck with names. Gives me anxiety pronouncing names.
Yeah.
But with the same digoxin. So after he attempted the suicides while he was working at Warren, when he quit there, then he began working in an intensive care and cardiac care unit in at Hunterdon Medical Center in Flemington. So there, he murdered at least 5 people.
Oh my gosh.
Through overdoses with the digoxin. While he's working there in Flemington, Jersey, he receives an award for diligence and hard work from colleagues.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, hard work stalking.
Mm-hmm.
Killing.
So he gets another girlfriend, or he gets a girlfriend while he's working there. Kills a few more people. There are a lot of murders, and we'll talk about how many towards the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually post a list of his victims on the website with their ages and even how they died, because it would just be too much to list out.
Okay, sounds good.
So his girlfriend that he got worked with him at the hospital, and so she broke up with him, and so he was like, well, I'm not fucking working here anymore, and so he quit his job. So then he got a job at Morristown Memorial Hospital.
Damn, he's had more jobs than a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. So he only lasted there for less than a year before he was fired for poor performance.
Damn, he went from being star pupil to fired.
Mm-hmm.
You fired.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so after he was fired for his poor performance, that's hard to say, he was unemployed for 6 months, so he couldn't make his child support payments.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So then he was hired by Liberty Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
so he got
a nursing home?
Yeah, so he got his nursing license in Pennsylvania. A couple months after that is he declares bankruptcy. So while he's working in Pennsylvania, he was accused of giving patients drugs that were unscheduled, and he was seen walking into a patient's room with syringes in his hands. Apparently didn't give the patient any injections, but the patient ended up with a broken arm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably because they woke up and he's like
and fought him.
About to do it, and then they're like, no, and he was like,
yeah, so he was fired for, quote, accidentally breaking a patient's arm.
Oh, yeah, it's an accident.
So unless that person had metastatic cancer that was eating up the bone, because I literally have had patients before that never with me, thank the good Lord for this, because that would break my heart. I don't know if I could live through it. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I could. But, like, they've had usually lymphoma or myeloma, and it spreads to the bone. Mm-hmm. And when it's, like, multiple times I've had people break their arm just pushing up to get up from a chair.
Oh, my gosh.
So, unless it's something like that,
yeah, there's
no fucking reason that you should break somebody's arm.
Especially on accident.
Again, unless you're, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, shit like that would happen. I could see that happening, like in oncology. Mm-hmm. If you were helping them up or something and they had metastatic lesions everywhere.
Yeah.
But that ain't what this is. Mm-mm. So he also caused the death of another patient at the Liberty Hospital that was actually blamed on another nurse.
Fuck.
Yeah. So after he left Liberty Hospital, he went to another hospital in Easton, Pennsylvania. And he worked there for about 6 months. From there, while he was there, he murdered another patient for which, like, the coroner's blood test showed lethal amounts of the digoxin in his blood. And so they started an internal investigation at Easton Hospital. But it was inconclusive because they could not prove that he was who gave that patient the medication. Yeah. So he left there. This is ridiculous. Like, the amount of places that he went and worked is just like, and we'll get into that in a minute. So he left Eaton Hospital and started working as a night nurse at a burn unit at Lehigh Valley Hospital in Salisbury Township, New Jersey.
Oh, gosh.
So he kills a couple of people, and then, okay, here you go, finally. You finally get a way of attempted suicide.
Okay.
So, at this time, We're getting into, like, the 2000s.
Okay.
So we've gone from, like, the 80s to the 2000s.
Damn.
He was living in an apartment building, lugged a charcoal grill into his bathtub, lit the bitch on fire, hoping to die from carbon monoxide poisoning. So, of course, his neighbors smelled the smoke and called the fire department, and he was taken to another psychiatric facility and was released the next day.
And he got hired somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. It's like fucking Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so he leaves the Lehigh Valley Hospital and starts working for St. Luke's in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Then he has a brother that passes away from brain cancer. Weird, we were just talking about cancer.
Yeah.
So while he's working at St. Luke's is when some coworkers found, like, vials of medication in the trash can that they were like, well, not the trash can, the disposal bin, that they were like, these are weird. Why are these here?
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're not, the drugs that were in the disposal bin were not what could be used as street drugs.
Right.
Like, it was like that digoxin that I'm probably saying wrong, and every nurse and medical professional listening to this cringes every time I say the name. But they're not street drugs. They're like help your patient drugs.
Yeah.
Put on a freaking code cart drugs. And so they're like, okay, well, this is weird. And they noticed that Charles Cullen had been the one that was taking the medications out. Because at this time, we're talking about like 2001-ish. So the dispensing systems for medications is way more high-tech. You have to put in your little code. The drawer pops out. You get your medicine, you know, all that stuff. And so the system is getting smarter. And so they know that he's the one that was taking the medications out. And so he was given the option from the medical facility to resign and be given a neutral recommendation or be fired.
Like, what?
So, of course, what does he do? We're going to get into all that. So, what, of course, does he do is resign, and he's escorted from the building. So, at that point, 7 of his coworkers from St. Luke's alerted the Lehigh County District Attorney and was like, I really think that he's using drugs to kill patients.
Damn.
However, the investigators never looked into his past, and the case was dropped 9 months later due to lack of evidence.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Lack of evidence? We just went on for 30 fucking minutes about all the evidence.
Oh, and I have not even begun listing the number of deaths yet.
Oh,
like, I cannot,
gosh.
like, it's a lot. So, in September of 2002, he begins working at Somerset Medical Center in Somerville, Jersey. Soon after he started working at Somerset, that's where the pieces kind of started being put together, because, again, we're in the early 2000s. This is 2002. The computer systems are more up to date. They started noticing that he was accessing patient records that he was not assigned to, which is, like, that right there is immediate grounds for termination.
Yeah.
Or grounds for immediate termination, whatever. Like, that's illegal.
Uh-huh.
And so coworkers started noticing that he was going into patients' rooms that he was not assigned to, and that he was, like, so in the drug dispensing cabinets, it was showing that he was requesting medications for patients that had never been prescribed to them, and that his requests were kind of strange. Like, there would be orders that were immediately canceled, and then, like, repetitive requests, like, immediately after one another that were canceled and then re-put in.
Wow.
So, in July of 2003, the executive director of the New Jersey Poison Information and Education System warned Somerset officials that at least 4 suspicious overdoses, like, within the hospital, indicated that there was probably an employee that was killing people.
Wow.
So that system was triggering how it should be.
Yeah.
And so the hospital delayed in contacting authorities.
Oh my gosh.
So from the time, and they didn't contact authorities until October. So by the time they got the information in July to October, he had already killed 5 more people.
Holy fuck.
And he had attempted to kill a 6th. So when In October of 2003, in Somerset, a patient died from low blood sugar. The hospital alerted the New Jersey State Police, and that person was his final victim. At this point, he's been reported that his patient died of an insulin overdose. It was his patient. He administered the medicine. So they start looking into his employment history. So,
ding, ding, ding.
Mm-hmm. So Somerset fired him at the end of October for lying on his job applications. And then a nurse that had worked with him, Amy Logarin, alerted police that she was concerned that he was accessing drugs that had been linked to deaths. And so the police kept him under surveillance while they started, building a case.
Yeah.
So on December 12th, 2003 is when he was finally charged with 1-count murder and 1-count attempted murder. A couple of days later, he admitted to the murder of Reverend Florin Gall and the attempted murder of Jin Han, both people at Somerset. He told the detectives he had murdered as many as 40 patients.
What the fuck?
In his 16-year career.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Like, when you go through the deaths, let me just read some of these dates. I mean, I'm not going to do a lot, but February 12th, February 23rd, February 23rd, March 11th, April 4th, May. So some of them were like multiple in a month. Some of them were multiple in a day.
That's
Some
crazy.
of them were like once a month. So it was like I don't know. So he was sentenced to 18 consecutive life sentences.
Good.
He is not eligible for parole until the year 2403.
Holy fuck.
When I read that number the first time, I was like, my brain could not compute.
Yeah.
Because I was like, 2403.
Wow.
Like, we're in 2018. Like, I mean, duh, but it's like, that is in 400 years. Like, that, like, is he Noah? How's he lived that long?
He's a vampire.
Oh, just kidding. There's a lot. Like, this guy. Okay. So, he was in March of the 2006. He was brought into the courtroom in Lehigh County, and the judge, William H. Platt, was going to sentence him. And literally, Cullen kept saying, Your Honor, you need to step down. Your Honor, you need to step down. For 30 minutes, he kept saying, Your Honor, you need to step down. Like, over and over and over. The judge had him gagged with a cloth and duct tape. He's still, Your Honor, you need to step down.
Oh my God.
Legit. Still, chanting.
Well, he's committed.
And so... so at that point, he got an additional 6 life sentences. So part of his plea agreement to not get the death penalty was that he would go through medical records from all these places and tell them who he killed. Because there were some times where he was like, of course, I can't remember what facility it was, but he was like, no, I didn't kill anybody there. But then when they started going to medical, he's like, oh, yeah, I killed that. Oh, yeah, and that. He had killed like 5 or 7 people there.
Oh, my God.
And he just had forgotten.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You know why? Because people are meaningless to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, drama around this case.
Okay.
So, not only do we know of 40 victims, they think that possibly the number of victims is upward of 3 to 400.
Holy shit.
So, I don't know how true that is. Obviously, it's estimates, but it could be that high.
Well, yeah, I mean, he'd do a twofer in a day.
Well, and, one of the things is that he says that he was a heavy drinker, and that was kind of at the beginning when he started, like, with the domestic violence and all of that, was that he was drinking really heavily. And so, he told police he was living his life kind of in a fog. He would black out. Some of the memories, like, he wouldn't remember murdering most of the victims. So that's why they think, like, okay, so he's remembered 40.
Yeah.
How many is he, if he really is, like, a blackout drunk, like, how many is he not remembering?
Right.
This case actually had a pretty big legal impact in that there weren't a lot of reporting mechanisms for medical institutions because they were so fearful of legal action.
Right.
So they couldn't tell, if somebody called to say, hey, did Kerri Easterling work for you from these dates? Really all we can say now is, yeah. Would you hire her again? Yes or no? Like, those are really the only questions you can answer. And so, in a lot of states, though, legislation and I don't even know if legislation is the right word, but maybe laws, basically, were changed to cause greater penalties for healthcare facilities that did not report suspicious deaths, because that was a lot of it, too. The hospitals weren't reporting them.
Yeah.
Because even if they got busted as not reporting them, they basically just got a minimal fine. And so they're like, well, we'll pay this fine and not report, even if we get busted. Well, now there's greater penalties.
That's awesome.
And then the other thing, too, is protecting the employer or the previous employer when the potential employer calls for a reference.
Yeah.
To be able to give a more accurate, representation of what that employee's like.
Yeah.
And because the medical community is a pretty small world.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the nurses talked, and they, his name, his reputation preceded him. In June of 2001, he took a job at Sacred Heart Hospital in Allentown. But one of the nurses that worked there heard rumors about him from his time at Easton and told her coworkers. And so they all threatened to all quit if they hired Cullen, and so he was immediately fired.
Yes.
And so, it had gotten out, but again, there were too many system failures to catch this.
Yeah.
And so it's truly unfortunate that all of these patients had to die and that all of these families are lost, have that loss.
Yeah.
Whether it be someone who was terminally ill or not, it's not his place to be able to take them, And so, but 35 states, including, or in addition to Pennsylvania and New Jersey, his main killing grounds, really, adopted new laws which encourage employers to give honest appraisals of workers' performance.
That's awesome.
And legal protection when they do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the big things that happened from that. And then in 2004, the Patient Safety Act increased hospitals' responsibility for reporting, quote, serious preventable adverse events. So, what's it called? Oh, it's like if it's called like a sentinel event or something, I think is what it would be called when I was working in hospitals that were accredited by Joint Commission. Like if a patient died and they shouldn't have. Like, it's a huge fucking deal that has, as it should be.
Yeah.
If there's a medical error involved. Also, there were new mandates that complaints and disciplinary records relating to patient care should be kept for at least 7 years, too, because that was a lot of it, too. Like, his records were destroyed, like, not kept, because, he doesn't work here anymore, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Whereas now, you have to keep some of them. And so there was a lot of good that came out of it.
Right. Well, that at least is good. There's positive.
Yeah, and I probably should have ended with that instead of this.
Oh,
But
shit.
so there was also drama in that, like, his ex-girlfriend's brother called him randomly out of jail because he got a lot of, like, fan mail, hate mail, women who love, all these,
Oh,
you know
gosh.
how a prolific kind of serial killer gets all this
yeah.
mail. Well, he had gotten some mail or a call from his ex-girlfriend's brother that someone was in need of a kidney.
Oh, my God. I think I've heard of this. Was it a little girl?
No.
Oh. I think that might have been on SVU or something.
Yeah, I think so. Let me see who this is. So I think it was actually the ex-girlfriend's brother, or maybe his friend. Anyway, I can't remember exactly who it was. Needed a kidney transplant, and so that's kind of between a rock and a hard place because the family of the victims were like, "Fuck you! Don't pretend like you're some fucking hero. Like you want to come swoop in and donate this kidney because you're a hero. You're not. You killed people who were in their most vulnerable state at the hospital under your care or another's nurse care for that matter. Sometimes not even his. And he murdered people. So don't pretend like you actually care and want to give this kidney, And so there was a lot of no, I know. So there was a lot of legal mumbo jumbo stuff that happened, but he ended up being able to donate the kidney.
Well, because it's not for him. Like, you have to look past that. Like, whatever.
No matter
you're a fucktard.
Yeah, no matter what his
kidneys is still a kidney that could save a life.
Yeah, and no matter what his reasoning is.
Yeah.
Well, and some of the big thing was too, though, is that who was going to pay for it? Because
True.
You would have to, you have all the testing. He had done this one test for his eligibility that only lasted a year, and so there was some time constraints to get it all approved. And then, it's like, so you have to approve his transport. You have to pay his transport, guards to sit with him at the hospital. So it's not just the money of, like, the actual transport. It's his medicine before and after, and it's the guarded protection for him.
Who pays for it normally then?
That other person's insurance, I think.
So that one wouldn't pay for it this time?
I mean, why would that person's insurance pay for the police protection for
you know what
I mean? I don't know though. And then
then it should have been on that other person though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
but if you think about that, then so that brings up another whole, so only the rich get a fucking kidney that need it, because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if they don't have the money to pay for,
Yeah.
And so, but and he was there was so much hate for him, rightly so. I'm not saying anything about that.
Oh,
but
yeah, for sure.
him in Jersey and stuff, that he was in great danger, actually, go into the hospital to do that. And so they had to put him under a different name in the hospital. I forget the name they used. It was something stupid, like from a movie. It was like Johnny
Bravo?
No, but it was something like that. Like, maybe it was Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Knoxville?
No, it was something like Johnny Bravo, I think. And so, I don't know, one of the articles I read was talking about how, he had to sign the consent as Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
But then also sign another paper that says, for the purposes of this, I, blah, 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 am Johnny Bravo. And so, the nurse was saying, she wasn't even supposed to see that document saying who he really was, which of course she did, but so there was just so much that went into it that I think that it just caused a lot of re-traumatizing for the family.
Yeah.
And how do you not make amends, that's not the word I want to use. How do you reconcile that in your brain of this man who took 40 plus lives, of which at least one was your family member, this angel of death, but not in the, quote, compassionate murder.
Right.
This angel of death now wants to save someone else with a kidney, and how much of it was a negotiation, because I think that he played a little bit of his plea bargain of, won't review medical records, that kind of stuff. And so it was a game of chess.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that the families of the victims had to go through that and all of that re-traumatizing and what have you. But the families did sue hospitals in in New Jersey, and they all settled out of court and all that sealed.
Oh, yeah,
so I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how much money they got, but they definitely sounds like they got what they were due.
Yeah.
Because, as a medical professional, of course I have malpractice insurance, but that's really scary.
Oh, yeah.
The thought of an error that could occur unintentionally that could cost someone their life or re-injure them, or, I'm not doing life and death stuff. I'm doing, shoulder rehab,
Yeah.
But it's 100% possible that I could do something in error and re-injure a shoulder and then have to go back to surgery or whatever. And that's really scary when you think about the fact that someone could sue you on a daily basis. That is, I'm not even joking, crosses my mind on a daily basis at work.
I'm sure.
And so it's it's such a double-edged sword. People 100% need to be protected.
Yeah.
As patients, because again, not everybody's medically minded. And so people who aren't and don't know the questions to ask, or don't feel comfortable to ask questions to a physician because they don't feel like they know enough to question a physician. You know, it's like they need that protection. But on the other hand, if it's a genuine human error and not malicious, the providers need to be protected too.
Yeah.
You know, because ultimately, I know that it is life and death, but you are dealing with humans. Ultimately, you don't want people to make mistakes, but it's going to happen. It's human nature. And so it's like, I feel like this is such a double-edged sword, because both need to be protected.
Yeah.
Because it's also, I mean, we choose our professions, so I don't want to say it's not fair, but it's also hard to think of every single day you could be sued. And of course, I am really an anxious person, and so of course most people probably don't think about it like I think about it, because again, I'm a very anxious person. But you know, I don't know, that's hard. And again, I don't deal with life and death. I'm not giving medicine or anything like that. So
yeah, but you could fuck something up. Let me get you more anxious. How about this?
Thanks.
But you can't, because Kerri's awesome. Honestly, I always tell people, like, she is doing what she was sent here to do. Very, very good.
Well, thanks. But I don't know.
But yeah, well, and how you were saying, though, like, people aren't medically minded because of how I am. I always think, yes, that's true. But then doctors are shady too.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and so it's not just because people might not be medically minded. It could be something.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Is that because they're not medically minded, they don't know what to ask. And so they can't protect themselves. So they need that protection because they don't have it in themselves to protect against the shady people. Yeah. That's totally what I'm saying.
Okay. Wow.
I know.
Well, that's a lot. It's so funny because, like, when you have never heard of him, and then when you talked about the kidney, and I'm like, thought I knew it, but it was an SVU thing. But that's so crazy. Like, my worlds are colliding.
Mm-hmm. Because SVU knows what's up, man. They do some, like, legit, like you said, ripped from the headlines.
You'd be Stabler, and I'd be Benson.
Mm-mm.
Uh-huh. Oh,
I'm Benson. I'm totally Benson.
No, you're Stabler.
You're Iced Tea.
I am Iced Tea.
No, you're Munch. Just kidding.
You motherfucker.
I'm Munch.
You are. You're Munch and Stabler together. Somewhere in there's a Benson on the spectrum, but really that is you.
But
hyper-aware and paranoid, but then aggressive and...
But I'm not going to, like, beat the shit out of you. I don't like him. I don't want to be him.
I mean, he took it too far, but I think
he did.
That would be
and when
more
he got, like... Because I made the mistake of...
You would not be Benson. Because someone would be like... And then be like, oh, fuck, I don't care about your fucking life story.
No, it's different. When I'm at work, I care. But no, I made the mistake one time of watching... Whenever I first moved to Houston, I, like, recorded every single episode that came on. And so, like, I got to binge all of them.
Yeah.
Because I was late to the SVU party. You, of course, watched it from the beginning.
Yes.
But when you watch episode after episode of him, you're like, come the fuck on.
Yeah,
Get your
toxic.
Life together. God.
Very toxic.
Yeah. So that's why I don't want to be him.
Oh, that's so funny.
So that's that.
That was a good one.
Thanks.
I mean, makes me scared to go to hospitals, but other than that, yay.
No, because it's like, again, there's
yes.
good systems in place, like checks and balances for medications and all of
beep,
that now.
Boop, beep, beep, boop, boop.
Yes, and you have to sign in to stuff and to pull, there's a ton of checks and balances now. All right. You ready for yours?
I don't know if you're ready for mine.
Oh, shit.
Let's get cozy. Let's get creepy. Okay, this week, I am conquering something I'm scared of.
Oh.
And it's not the R word.
Is it a kid?
And it has black eyes.
No.
Just kidding. It is the Ouija board.
No.
It is. And I bought one so we can do it.
Fuck no.
Oh my God. Her face.
Fuck
she was
that.
like all emotion drained from it. And then it was like, oh, fuck.
No. Nope. I'm bye. I'm not even going to be in the same house with it.
Oh my gosh. That was perfect. I wish I had a camera on there.
No. You could be like, I would pay off your student loans if you did this Ouija board. I'd say, fuck no.
Oh shit. I'd be like, okay.
No.
Just not in my house.
Maybe if Courtney helped me and drew a circle and shit.
Yeah, I would do it with Courtney.
Nah, I still wouldn't.
I trust you, Courtney.
I don't know that. That's a pretty big one. Pay off my student loans.
Now that she's thinking about it. I'm sorry. I was impulsive to say no. It was wrong of me.
Throw in my house and the student loans and you got a deal.
Damn.
And my car.
She's not asking a lot, people.
Just like $7 billion.
Are you Dr. Evil?
Yes.
Okay, so Ouija board. Also, people now, I feel like more than ever, because I've been around for 33 years, they say Ouija.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. Like, Ouija talk about, because it's a Ouija. Like Luigi, it's Ouija.
Like Weezer from Weezer from Still Magnolias. Mm-hmm.
That's what my brother calls me, Donna Weezer.
Because your daddy calls you Donna Lisa. And that ain't even her middle name.
The Ouija board. Oh my God, I almost said it.
You did say it.
That was me rewinding it. Don't remember. Men in Black it. Psh. And
Ouija board.
Oh my God, she closed her eyes too. I love that she plays along with my craziness.
Oh, I was just yawning.
Oh, fuck. Damn.
Girl, don't you know I'm always tired?
I know, but I thought you were just doing it.
Oh, shit. That's funny. Yeah, I was playing along.
And this is our friendship, y'all. I'm like, oh, yeah. And she's like, yeah, sure.
This is why we've worked for 25 years.
Okay. So, it is known as a talking board or a spirit board. And again, yes, it is sold on the board game aisles.
Which is like the most ridiculous thing on the fucking planet.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to Walmart. I want some rollback prices and a Ouija board. Well, it does make sense to be sold in Walmart because that is the pit of hell.
Yes, I hate that place unless they want to sponsor us.
No. We'll do Sam's Club, but not Walmart.
No. They got the pickup now. It's not that bad.
Oh, true that. Okay, but seriously, so it's sold on the board game aisle for like, I don't know, probably a lot now, but whatever. So if you don't know what it is, God bless you. It means that you're living a pure life and you don't have evil friends who tell you about black-eyed kids and all of this stuff.
And you're probably not listening.
True. So if you know anyone like that, you just go ahead, tell them about us. We'll show them the way of the underworld, apparently.
Of which we know nothing.
True. We're learning.
We just have a podcast about it.
We're growing up. We're 25 now.
True.
We're learning. We're tiptoeing in.
We're gaining wisdom. We still think we know it all, even though we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I sure as shit did at 25.
Oh my gosh.
Still do.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so, again, picture it. It's a flat board with the letters of the alphabet in 2 semicircles, and they are above the numbers 0 through 9. Then the words yes and no are in the uppermost corners. Mm-hmm. Goodbye at the bottom, and then you have like a teardrop shaped device called the planchette. Mm-hmm. And so in that looks like a spade, and it has a circle usually made of glass or plastic where that's where it shows what letter it's on. Mm-hmm. So think about it as like a magnifying glass.
Right.
So the idea is 2 or more people sit there, fingertips are on the planchette, and you ask a question and you wait for it to move and guide you to the answers.
You can't do it with one person?
It needs to be 2 people.
Oh, so, okay.
I mean, people do it. I'm just saying.
That's not the rules. Parker Brothers did not tell you to do it with one person.
Exactly. All right, so where did it come from?
Where did it go?
Cotton Eye Joe. Okay. So one of the first mentions is found in China around 1100 AD.
Damn.
And it was in a historical document of the Song dynasty. And it was a method called Fuji, which was planchette writing. It wasn't like on a board.
Yeah.
You know, it had different things, but now that was like first mention. If you go back, look at all the shit, there you go. But what we know of it, so it came straight out of the 19th century and our obsession with spiritualism. Spiritualism is the belief that the living can communicate with the dead, okay? It had been around for years in Europe and all that shit, but then the movement kind of gained when it was an era when, like, you know, people died around like 50. That was their average lifespan. So lots of death. Women died in childbirth. Children died of diseases. I mean, we all know tuberculosis.
Right.
How
Typhoid Mary.
Yeah. How many fucking things have we talked about?
Right.
Okay. So then another big thing was men died in war. And during the Civil War, spiritualism was like fucking on trend.
Okay.
BuzzFeed would have been like 20 things you need to know about spiritualism. You know?
Yeah.
With the Civil War and people not coming back, everyone wanted to communicate with their lost one. So the Ouija board and spiritualism and all of that, it's not how we think of it today. It wasn't like that. It was pretty much like a wholesome thing to do. And spiritualism was kind of bougie. Like, people would get dressed up and have, like, it was like a parlor game almost, you know, like,
Yeah.
I'm going over to Kerri's with my pinky up, drinking some shishi shit, and we're going to contact the dead. What?
When you said shishi, all I could think about was a she shed.
Oh, gosh. Somebody lit my she shed on fire or whatever. My gosh. Okay. So in 1886, the fledgling Associated Press reported on a new phenomenon taking over the spiritualist camps in Ohio. It was the talking board. Basically a Ouija board, but it just like wasn't all laid out the same. So the article went far and wide, deep and wide, all of that shit. It gained the attention of Charles Kennard of Baltimore, Maryland. And then, so in 1890, he pulled together a group of 4 investors, which included Elijah Bond, who was a local attorney, and Colonel Washington Bowie, but he was a surveyor. And so they were like, all right, we're going to start Kennard Novelty Company, and we're going to make these talking boards. Because it's like, it's on trend.
Yeah.
We getting it. We going to market, and we going to get rich.
And die.
Like, make it rain.
Okay, Prince. No, that's Purple Rain.
Oh my gosh. So, because like none of them were spiritualists. They could give a rat's ass what this was. They were just like, people want it.
They were hustlers. Fuck yeah, get it, boy.
Yeah. And so they're like, all right, well, what do we call it? Because the talking board doesn't sound cool. Like, that's not hot. That's not sexy. You know how, like,
Right.
people love to say that in marketing. That's not sexy.
That's obnoxious.
Oh, I hate that too. Okay. So, several things say that it is a combination of oui, French for yes, and ja, German for yes. Okay? But Robert Murch, he's like a huge Ouija researcher. Been on all kinds of shit with my bedazzled boo.
Okay.
he has made his living knowing Ouija. Oh my God, I fucking did it again.
You converted.
Oh my God, I didn't mean to. Okay. So, like, he's been behind the scenes on multiple scary movies and all kinds of stuff. Like, living his best life, being freaky deaky.
Okay.
But he is, like, the researcher go-to for Ouija boards. And he said, based on his research, it was Elijah Bond's sister-in-law, Helen Peters, who they say was a strong medium. They were all sitting around the table, and they asked the board what they should call it. And, you know, they all had their little fingertips on it, and it spelled out Ouija. Then they asked what that meant, and it said good luck. Okay. So then Murch found out that Helen Peters actually was wearing a locket bearing a picture of a woman, and the name Ouija was above her head, and it was really, her name was like Ouida or something, and they think they just misspelled it.
Oh.
You know, because, like, whoever had the locket misspelled it, and they're like, ooh, this could be great, you know?
Yeah.
They say that, but who knows? I don't know. And everything could have been together, and it was really, like, a spirit leading that to even happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because I don't fucking understand
Me neither.
the shit. I just love it. And scared of it.
I was going to say, not enough to do it. Because you have enough fear and respect for it to not do it.
Yes. So, speaking of Helen Peters, she actually disavowed the Ouija board after a personal experience that created a huge rift in her family. They found that a collection of Civil War era buttons went missing. So they're like, let's get the board out and ask it who is the thief. And it named someone else in the family. And Helen's like, this is a lie. Like, this is not true. This is blah, 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 blah. And so half of her family believed her. Other half is like, no. Like, this is the truth. This happened. Like, how did it spell out this person's name?
Right.
You know, whatever. And so she was like, fuck this. I hate it. It's a liar. It's, you know, fake, whatever. So she's no longer associated with it. And it, like, wasn't even her that it named. I don't know who it was, but, like, girl, you missed out on a fortune.
Well, simmer down.
So, according to Murch's interviews with the descendants of the founders, when they went to get it patented to sell, the guy was like, it's just a toy. Like, it's nothing, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, no, this is so true. He was the chief patent officer, and he demanded a demonstration. He's like, okay, if it could accurately spell my name, which was supposed to be unknown to them, but like, Bond was a lawyer and, like, knew some of this stuff, so it could have just been him. Who knows? But it was supposed to be unknown. Like, they just randomly got this guy, you know?
Okay.
So they all sat down, communed with the spirits, and the planchette faithfully spelled out the patent officer's name. But it said, so he went white-faced, was like, Erfurk.
Yeah.
You know? So on February 10th, 1891, they were awarded a patent for the Ouija board.
1891? Damn.
And so it's just funny, like, if you think about it, it's supposed to have named itself, and now it's helped get its patent. Like, I mean, it's basically doing all the fucking work.
Right? I mean, whatever their names are even doing.
Nothing.
And it's to catch a predator over there.
For real.
Got the thief.
Yeah. So now they've got this going. Spiritualism, again, all-time high. But this wasn't a huge boom yet. And so at the time, people had been, like, doing, I think it was called like round table or something, where they would sit at the table and if it shook, it meant something.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had people that would like rap on the walls and, kind of like in our episode, Walls and Dolls, where he would knock on it and they thought, that is how people would communicate. And so, I mean, can you imagine how fucking long that would take?
No.
Like, okay, 2 knocks is an A? No. Okay, like fucking hangman? You know, like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, it'd be like Morse code.
Okay, shut up. Just kidding, don't shut up. But I feel like,
No, I mean, hello, I don't know Morse code.
me neither. So it was just boring. It got too drawn out, like we all do.
Mm-hmm.
We want something fancy. Like, go ahead,
Quick.
shock me. Okay, so when they first offered the Ouija board, they really didn't give any directions, anything. It was just like, connect with spirits. And that worked because it was so mysterious that people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I want to do this. I can do this on my own. Like, I don't have to wait for she parties.
Right.
Like, yes, please. I can do this in, like, no bra,
Damn.
no corset, whatever. Like, sign me the fuck up. You know what I mean? I mean, I would do it for that. Be like, oh, I can stay home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for I wouldn't.
I mean, if I was back then.
Yeah, if you didn't know any better.
Yeah. Again, it soared. By 1892, the Kennard Novelty Company went from 1 factory in Baltimore to 2 in Baltimore, 2 in New York, 2 in Chicago, and 1 in London.
Damn. Then they went international.
Yeah, in like a year.
Damn.
So by 1893, Kennard and Bond were out. Okay, so by this time, William Fuld, he had gotten in on the ground floor.
And fooled everyone.
Yes, basically.
Did he really? Mm-hmm. Damn.
You always fucking ruin it. You don't need a fucking Ouija board. You see the
what's
future.
up. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. I mean, you could have just read my notes, but whatever.
I didn't. I can't read from here.
I know. So he was the head of the company. Like, he owned it. So he licensed the exclusive He licensed the exclusive rights to make the board.
Do we know why the other 2 wanted out?
It was like money changes shit. And so, they just kind of wanted their money.
Okay. And get done.
Yeah. Like,
cash out.
Yep.
Look, they pulled
left
the
on a
slot.
high.
Yeah, they pulled the slot too many times. They said, look, one more hit, and if I don't win this time, I'm pulling out.
Exactly. And like most things, they pulled out too soon.
Damn.
I mean, that would be me. I would make my money and be like, okay, I'm done. And then it'd be like, and this changed the universe. Be like, fuck.
Yeah.
I really did it, okay? But, okay. So he got it, and he marketed it as a mystical oracle and family entertainment.
Oh, yeah, because that's one and the same.
Uh-huh. Hey, you're 4 years old? You can conjure a fucking demon. But they didn't think of demons this way. They thought it was just fun. Like, you could talk to a spirit and whatever.
It could be your grandma.
Yeah. So again, this took it from just having spiritualists who made money through this. You buy this and you can do it multiple times.
Yeah.
You don't have to, again, host a party and all this shit to have this person come.
Right.
Like, again, you pull it out of your fucking
game closet.
Okay, so again, people during hard times, you always want something good. And it's like, okay, well, we might not have food to eat and all this, but we can talk to, our grandmother, our blah, blah, blah. We can contact, be this mystical person.
What
blah,
year was
blah,
this? Was this around the Great Depression?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like when it started to boom even more.
Okay.
Like 1910, 1920.
Okay, before the fall.
Yeah. But then, like, Prohibition, like, just all of that
Was coming.
And so it's like, again, turmoil. just like everything. I mean, when we go to wars, the economy goes up because that's just it. Like, people spend fucking money when they're nervous.
Well, yeah. But it also creates more jobs because you got to manufacture weapons and so forth and so on. And so it stimulates the economy because of more jobs, people are able to afford more things.
Yeah. So it was like normal, like I said, household thing. So normal that in 1920, in May, Norman Rockwell, the artist guy, you know, that guy, we're real cultured. He depicted a man and a woman with the Ouija board on their knee. Like, he painted this.
Damn.
Like, just whatever. And it was for the Saturday Evening Post. Like, so it's just, again, a normal fucking thing. Like, hey, it's Friday night. Let's conjure up a spirit.
Right.
Saturdays are for Spirit Day.
Dang.
Dang.
Well.
During the Great Depression, there you go, Kerri, the Fuld Company opened new factories to meet demand for the boards. Over 5 months in 1944, a single New York department store sold 50,000 of them.
What?
5 months.
In 1940 whatever.
1944.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah. 50,000.
This sounds like tickle me fucking elbow.
Oh my gosh.
Remember that craze?
Yes. Oh gosh. So in 1967, the year after Parker Brothers bought the game from the Fuld Company, 2 million boards were sold, outselling Monopoly that year.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Like, don't pass go. We want to go to the fucking spirit land.
They collected their fucking $2,000. 200, whatever the hell it is. I'm adjusting for inflation.
Apparently. So one thing I thought was funny is it was marketed as a nice thing to do as a couple.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. You could sit beside each other, almost touch knees, or sometimes touch knees.
No.
Your hands would be together, you know, like you're bonding.
Damn.
So
Summoning
can you
a
say Ouija and chill?
Damn. Oh, God. Did you write that down?
I did.
Damn.
Literally, Ouija and chill, anyone?
Oh, my God.
Don't laugh at me.
I didn't.
Okay.
Oh, my God. That's great.
All right. So in 1920, a national wire service reported that would-be crime solvers were turning to their Ouija board for clues in mysterious murders. One was of a New York City gambler, Joseph Burton Elwell. And, like, the police were like, oh, my God, shut the fuck up. But they were like, no, we gonna solve this for you, you know? Reminds me of R.I.P. Sylvia Brown. Mm-hmm. She went on Montel all the time.
Yes, and it was all fake.
All fucking fake. Okay, so in 1921, the New York Times reported that a Chicago woman being sent to a psychiatric hospital tried to explain to doctors that she wasn't suffering from mania, but the Ouija spirits had told her to leave her mother's dead body in the living room for 15 days.
Ew.
Before burying her in the backyard.
Ew.
One, how long was that fucking Ouija board session? I'd be like, today, Junior, tell me what the fuck to say. Like, good Lord.
Oh, like, could you imagine L-E E
Yeah.
space.
They don't do spaces.
It's a joke.
Oh. I was like, girl, you haven't played with the Ouija board. Backspace, hashtag.
Oops, wrong letter.
Fucking autocorrect.
Damn.
Okay. Then, in 1930, newspaper readers were thrilled because 2 women in Buffalo, New York, who'd murdered another woman, supposedly on the encouragement of a Ouija board message. Then in 1941, a 23-year-old gas station attendant from New Jersey, he was not the angel of death though, they told the New York Times that he joined the army because the Ouija board told him to.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. In 1958, a Connecticut court decided not to honor the Ouija board will of Helen Dow Peck, who left only $1,000 to her 2 former servants and an insane $152,000 to Mr. John Gale Forbes, a lucky but bodiless spirit who'd contacted her via the Ouija board.
Oh my God.
Like, what?
Damn.
That, oh, you know, they're like, you motherfucker. I mean, they got their shit anyway, because they took it to the fucking court. And they said, Judge, you can sit down, Your Honor. You can sit down, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I think that was the funniest fucking thing you said.
Damn.
And then they gagged him. Like, okay, yeah. I forgot to tell you. So, in 1927, Fueled, however you fucking say his name, he died after a freak fall from the roof of his new factory. And it was a factory that he said the Ouija board told him to build.
What?
So, he was murdered. Not really, but...
Damn.
It's like, the thing that made him rich killed him too.
Damn, that's poetic.
Put that on a fucking license plate. You know,
Bumper
like,
sticker?
Yeah, bumper sticker. God, fuck. Something, make the
Sounds
money.
like that would be like in like Tupac's lyrics.
Oh, God, R.I.P. Or, really, is he still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then in 1916, this was not a murder. This was somebody making money off of a Ouija board, but in a different way. Pearl Karan, I think, she made headlines when she began writing poems and stories that she claimed that she dictated via the Ouija board by a spirit of a 17th century Englishwoman named Patience Worth.
What?
Yeah. Then, the following year, one of her friends, Emily Grant Hutchins, she claimed that her book was communicated via the Ouija board by Samuel Clemens, who is better known as Mark Twain.
Oh, I should have known that.
Mm-hmm. And I think they actually, like, the family of Mark Twain might have tried to sue her or something, but they couldn't not prove that she was talking to Mark Twain. So it was like, I mean... You can't prove it. Then there was this huge guy, James Merrill. He was a Pulitzer Prize winning poet. But he, again, had a Ouija dictated poem and shit. But he didn't say that he, like, talked to a spirit. He said that it basically acted more as a magnifier for his own poetic thoughts rather than a hotline to the spirits.
I know when that hotline blank.
Oh my God, I almost said that. I didn't write that down.
I was about to say, you probably wrote it down.
Okay, so everything's going good. I mean, like, shit has happened, but still popular, still wholesome. You can make money from it. Then, in 1973, everything fucking changed.
Why? Because everybody was doing acid?
Maybe. But, also... The Exorcist came out.
Oh, true.
Mm-hmm. Remember Rolando? Marley does. He was who The Exorcist was based off of. So, huge movie. And, you know, they all saw Reagan be possessed by a demon after she used the Ouija board.
Yeah.
And so, almost overnight, it became evil.
Damn.
A tool of the devil. You know, it was like, everyone was like, oh, fuck, we want to have success like The Exorcist, so we're going to put in a Ouija board, going to be possessed, blah, 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 blah. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, Hilaire still doing that to this day, and it still terrifies me, and I still watch all that shit.
Right.
So, again, it went from everyone wanted one, everyone had a great time, let's have a family night and contact some spirits to... oh, fuck, it's a demon thing.
It's of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
It's blah, blah, blah.
Like, you couldn't go to church after you played with this before. You could contact a spirit on Saturday, go to church on Sunday, and be good.
Right.
Now, it's like, oh, shit, no. You can't go to church and play with the Ouija anymore. And isn't that so funny? Like, that's so how everything is.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like, one thing changes it. And
it's so insignificant, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was based on a real story, but...
But do we know that he played with a Ouija board before?
I mean, they said that.
Okay.
Did you not remember my story?
I didn't remember that.
His aunt died, and...
duh. Okay, I'm sorry. Duh.
So, now I'm going to go into what scientists say about the Ouija board. Because now, like, we've got to where it's evil.
Yeah.
So, before I tell you scary shit, I'm going to tell you, so scientists say that it's not powered by spirits, but it's more that it's powered by us. And even though we swear we're not moving it, they say that it works based on something called the ideometer effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what this effect is examining the automatic muscular movements that take place without us being aware. So think about crying in reaction to a sad film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, it just happens.
Right.
It's also like if you've ever experienced jerking awake.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that.
Mm-hmm. So that's like a more abrupt version of it, but that's still the same thing. Like, your body moves, but you didn't do it.
Right.
It just happens. So obviously you're awake when this happens if you're doing it at the Ouija board. But they're saying that it's basically the mind processes things on a different level. And so it's like the unaware state of you is focusing on something, you know, like you're focusing on not moving the planchette, whatever, but you're also thinking about the question that just was asked, you know? And so then if you ask, when did you die? Like, you're going to answer it in your head at some point. Like, I wonder if it was the 1920s. And so you could, without knowing, put that in there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what they say. But that's also kind of scary too, though, to think about. That's a whole nother thing of being aware and unaware of your actions.
Right. But I mean, the unawareness of your actions is like almost like a tick. It's not, you know what I mean? That where you go towards these letters and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're going to go kill someone and never know you did it.
Yeah. Yeah. So for all that information, I used a lot of it from the Smithsonian Magazine online. Just wanted to let y'all know, like, that's where I got a lot of that from. So now that we know that scientists say blah, 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 but we all know that everything cannot be scientifically proven. You might think that it can, but not always. So here's some examples of some creepy stories I found.
Okay.
This one was from paranormal.lovetoknow.com. I mean, hello. That sounds like something I would go to.
Right.
Which
you
I did. Beat you to it. So I'm just going to read what this person had wrote in. Cindy was only 13. She was the middle child with a large, devoutly Christian family who lived in northern Maine. She had 3 older sisters, a younger sister, and a younger brother. At some point during the 8th grade, a friend let her borrow a Ouija board for a weekend. So that weekend, Cindy and her older sisters played with the board. They did it in secret late at night because they knew, you know, their parents would be like,
don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, she was mesmerized by it and became obsessed with it. And so, like, she could think of nothing else but ask questions, like constantly making a list of, okay, I'm going to ask this. Okay, blah, 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 blah. So she had an hour every day after school where she was alone. So Monday afternoon, right after getting home from school, she got up to her room, set up the Ouija board, and laid her fingertips on the planchette. After just 10 minutes of sitting quietly, the planchette started to jerk softly across the board. It spelled out H-I, and Cindy's breath was caught in her throat. Hi. Like, I. Who are you? And it spelled out Jake. Jake. A shock ran through Cindy. Jake was a friend of hers who had died in a car accident in 4th grade.
No.
So she's like, Jake, is it really you? And the pointer moved to yes.
Of course it did.
Over the next hour, Cindy held this conversation with Jake. Every day after school, she'd race up to her room, talk to her old friend. But after a few days, the conversations became darker and angrier. By the second week, Cindy had the impression that she wasn't talking with Jake, but instead a dark and terrible imposter, which we know, D-E-M-O-N.
Demon.
So, finally, by the end of the second week, the entity revealed itself as a demon and threatened Cindy if she told anyone about their conversations, she would die. So that Friday night, when her sisters got home, they found Cindy curled up in a corner crying. It took a week in a mental facility before she could recover enough from that shit.
Yeah.
And, so finally she did, and she's okay, but...
Damn.
do not just believe everything.
Right. It's like, are you who you say you are? Of course I am.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Jake, is it really you from State Farm?
She sounds hideous.
Of course I am.
I just love that commercial. What are you wearing? A red polo and khakis?
Oh, no, he's like khakis. I love how he says khakis.
Okay, so this one is Can't Hide Secrets from Ouija. Ouija, whatever you said. I'm not going to read it verbatim. I'm just going to kind of go through it, okay? So one summer, there were 3 middle school age. Good Lord.
That's a tongue twister.
So they discovered a Ouija board in the trash outside of an apartment building. So, of course, they get it because it's spooky and,
forbidden.
Taboo. So, if it's in the trash, it ain't no good. If they're going to throw away something that is like that, don't even pick it up.
Keep it walking.
So, Tom, he was the oldest of these 3 boys, and he was a fucktard and really mean and really a bully. He would, punch this one guy, Josh, in the arm all the time, jokingly.
Yeah.
But it would bruise. And then he would call him stupid, blah, 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 blah. So Chris, the 3rd guy, he would just remain silent. So, he didn't want to get bullied. He just kind of, let it happen.
Right.
So they hated Tom, but they tolerated it because they had no other friends. Pretty much every freaking case of this,
Right.
I have no one else, so you'll do. I'll suffer through.
Right.
Because I don't want to be alone. So they took the Ouija board over to Tom's house, and his father was always working, so he was alone. His mom had passed away years earlier, so they're we can do what we want here. We're gonna, talk to some spirits. So they sat there and had the planchette, and it finally spelled out getaway. And they're like, get away, I live here, Tom. And then it started moving briskly in the figure 8. And then it said N-O-W, now.
Thanks.
And so Chris was like, that's weird. I wonder what that means. Then Chris asked, where should we go? And then it spelled out, it hurts. And so Tom is like, this is stupid. Stupid. And he's like, you guys are doing this. Let's test it. Josh, let go. Okay? And so Josh removed his hands from the planchette. And he's like, okay, now ask it a question that only you would know. And so Josh immediately asked, who is the person who keeps hitting me? And so, Tom was, giving him, fuck you eyes, But it moved quickly. And it spelled out, ask Tom. And Tom was like, this is stupid, again. And then it spelled out D-A-D, dad. And so Chris was like, what? You know? And then it spelled D-A-D again. And, like, Tom started breathing heavier, like, freaking kind of out. His face turned red. He started sweating. And it spelled Dad a third time. So he jumped up, ran from the room crying. And, like, this was the first time they've ever heard him cry.
Yeah.
They learned a few days later that Tom's father routinely abuses him. And somehow the Ouija board knew his innermost secret.
Which is exactly why he bullied the other kid.
Yep.
Dang, that's so sad.
It is sad. So sad. Okay, so this is from thoughtco.com. Okay, so this one is called The Ouija Brings Dread. Last year, my best friend and I decided to experiment with the Ouija board, just to see if it worked. We made our own out of paper and used regular drinking glass as a pointer, so we were pretty skeptical. But we were in for a shock. It took a while for the board to, quote-unquote, warm up, but once it did, it became apparent that we were surrounded by relatives who had passed away. The glass moved extremely slowly, and there was nothing scary being said or done. However, halfway through our session, 2 of our other friends came bursting into the room, laughing and joking. Once they calmed down, we got back to the board. This time, the glass moved extremely fast. We could hardly keep our fingers on it. It started spelling out names and words without even asking questions. The words spelled out including murder, lust, and so we ended the session immediately because, hello, freaked out.
Yeah.
After that, everything went back to normal for a few days, but then I started waking up at 3 a.m. every night with the unexplainable feeling of dread. This waking up continued for a few weeks, and I started becoming depressed for no reason. Then one night at about 1 a.m, my friend was walking me home. As we were walking up the road, he claimed he saw a black figure of a man leaning on a fence, staring at us. We laughed and joked about the place being haunted. We did used to hear bells chiming every night on that road. So, it made sense for them. That night, I woke up again, but this time I was being pinned face down on my bed by what felt like a man. I tried to struggle, but I couldn't move. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. He started speaking in my ear, but I don't know what he said. Then he was gone. I hid under my covers like that would help and soon fell asleep. When I woke up the next morning, I put it down to a nightmare, though it felt real. A few days later, we had family visiting. My grandma, who claims to be very perceptive, came in and said she felt that there was a presence in the house. My mom said she thought so too ever since I'd done a Ouija board in my bedroom, but she didn't think it was harmful. My grandma disagreed, and she said she thought it was evil. The next bit is really hard for me to explain as I don't really know how I felt. As they were arguing, I began to get the same dreadful feeling that I had so many other nights, and I began to feel something was wrong. It felt as though I was being pulled into a tunnel further and further away from the room I was in. I tried to tell my mom I didn't feel right, but I couldn't make myself talk or move. It felt as though something was trying to control me. I finally managed to make myself talk, but I screamed it. "There's something wrong with me." The next thing I knew, my sister was beside me, hugging me. I was crying and shaking uncontrollably. My family said I had what looked like some type of seizure.
Oh my God.
We got a priest to bless the house, and while he was doing so, all the pipes in the house made a huge screaming noise. They didn't stop until he finished the prayer. After that, everything went back to normal. I can't explain what happened to me, and it scares me to actually think of it. Jessica M.
Damn.
Can you imagine?
Nope.
That takes, sleep paralysis to a whole nother level.
That's like sleep paralysis, Shadow Man, and Slender Man all combined in one.
Right? Oh, gosh. Okay, so I'm going to end on this one. This was from Sarah, and this was 3 years ago. My friend and I used to play with the Ouija board when we were kids. One night we didn't have an actual board, so we made one with slips of paper for each of the letters, numbers, etc., and used a glass as a planchette. As we asked questions, we noticed that it was getting nastier and nastier with the responses. I completely forget what those responses were 30 years later. Finally, my friend asked if a demon was trying to communicate with us, and the planchette moved to point to yes. Then he asked if the demon planned to harm us, and again, it pointed to yes. Finally, he asked if the demon would leave us alone if we stopped using the board right there and then, and it said yes.
What?
So, needless to say, we stopped. I think we might have taken it a bit further, but my mom was freaking out and was like, no, that's the end of it. So, apparently, she had also had an experience of her own when she was young, also with the homemade Ouija board. Her grandfather was not the nicest man in the world, and I guess he was a nasty alcoholic. She thinks she contacted him one night. After a few questions that he answered, she asked if he was in heaven or hell. When she got no answer, she asked again, and the planchette spelled out, I must go now. And wouldn't,
Damn.
Yeah, and wouldn't answer any further questions. Then, with no one touching the planchette, it flew across the room. Can you
Holy
imagine?
shit. No.
So, one, I would beat them, be like, not really beat them, but you know what I mean. Be like, you're talking to a demon?
Yes.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
crazy.
It's so scary because it's just, and it's funny to think about that it started out being something that was marketed as wholesome and now is completely different. But it's like, again, it's how you use it. I feel like, it's just a board. It's just whatever. But it's, to me, I feel like it's the portal that you open and what you bring to that and what you are open to.
And, yeah.
And, like, they didn't know of evil back then. I mean, they knew of evil, but they didn't think anything evil could happen with it, so it didn't even cross their mind.
Yeah.
Until The Exorcist, and then it was like, oh, fuck, and then it's gone,
Right.
Just like everything. I mean, it takes a turn, and then it can never be wholesome again. Okay, so, what did we learn?
Don't fuck with shit you don't understand.
Yes.
AKA Ouija boards.
Yes. And for some reason, I want to call it Ouija board now. Even though I hate that.
You opened up a can of worms you cannot unopen.
Burke. Do you remember those cans of worms, the cans of beans, but they actually had like
Peanuts,
spring...
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Your mom had a can of that, didn't she?
And it was like spring open and it was like springed, nope, not springed, like spring with, like it looked like worms.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or like a snake or something.
Yes, she got me all the fucking time with that shit. Anyway, sorry, when you said that, I was like, that's all I could think about. But, yeah, there's so many rules. I should have wrote those down. But it's like, don't do it by yourself. You need at least 2 people. Always close it by saying goodbye. Like, I mean, it's not a toy. Don't treat it as a toy.
No, it's not. Exactly.
It can just be like anything else. It could be like a fucking cell phone. It's not a toy. I mean, yeah, you can play games on it, but you can also call someone or be tracked by it. Everything else. Like, it's still not a toy.
Right.
So, like, you're on Snapchat. You're on Snapchat. It's fun. You got the filter going. But if you have it checked where it can show your location.
Right.
You're vulnerable.
Right.
And so it's the same thing. I mean, it's like a board and it's sometimes fun and it can be whatever, but you're opening something.
Which that leads, I think, into 2 is what I was thinking was know your vulnerabilities.
Yes.
Like, as it relates to stuff like that, like whether it be technology or toy type things or, but also know your rights and your vulnerability as a patient too.
Yes.
Because there's always going to be situations in which you have zero control. You know, if he's going through the med room and putting shit in IV bags, well then absolutely not. If it's an IV bag you need, you'd never know that.
Right.
But try to be aware of the shit.
Yeah. Stay woke. Isn't that what the kids say now? Stay woke.
I don't know. Because I am not woke. I know nothing about shit that the kids say.
The kids say today. Do you want to contact a spirit to ask them?
Nope. I was going to say 3, follow the damn rules, because I'm such a rule follower. Like, he broke the rule, because it goes with both. I feel like he broke the rules just of nursing by killing people, but also, like...
Yeah, first do no harm.
But I feel like also with the Ouija board, like, following instructions, like, end it with saying goodbye and all of that. Like, when people don't follow those instructions is when it's dangerous.
Oh, also, I really should have wrote those rules down, but it said, like, don't ask how it died, like, the spirit, because that's, like, asking how much you weigh and stuff. Like, it's really personal.
Yeah.
And, it like, if sometimes they don't remember, you know, if it was, like, a tragic thing, like, they might not know.
Yeah.
2, it is tragic then. Like, I mean, you know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
So, they don't want to relive that. They don't want to have to tell some fucking stranger. And also, if you're, like, with your people and y'all have a circle, do not break it. And, like, if, say, me, you, and Tiffany, Tiffany's like, oh, fuck, leave me out of this.
Right.
But if we
girl.
if we all have our fingertips on it, we can't not, like, just let go and be like, all right, like, that's bad.
Meanwhile, I would have a fucking itch on my face.
Girl.
Better take you some fucking Benadryl.
Not Benadryl. You go to sleep. Zyrtec.
Oh, God, I know. Oh, God, I would be... my eyes just closed thinking about taking Benadryl. Golly. So don't do the fucking Ouija board. Don't kill people and don't do a fucking Ouija board.
Yes. Pretty much all of that. But do send us your sinister sightings. aparanormalchicks@gmail.com.
Have you ever done a Ouija board?
Yes.
Send us that shit, please.
Please. It can be a short story. It could be a long story. Just don't send it in Ouija form. Please. I don't want to have to figure all that shit out.
No fucking spaces. No thanks. Look, I am not the dude with the long hair off Criminal Minds. I cannot detect codes.
Oh my gosh. Also, do rate us, leave a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, whatever you listen to us on. Helps us out.
Yes. And remember,
Creep it real
and don't get scared.